This video is going to be useful to those who are thinking of getting training in Reiki, or maybe you had your training before in the past and you're coming back to it, or you're attuned to Reiki, and of course to my current or my future students. I have been a Reiki practitioner since 2017 and a Reiki master since 2018, and as well as I am practicing and learning lots of different healing modalities all the time, like shamanism, past life regression, numerology that is called Matrix. The system is one of my favorites as of now as well, because it's like a cheat code really to your life if you want to understand yourself better, or in any part of your life there's questions. This is a great one, but now not about that. Let's go back to Reiki. So all of these tips that I'm gonna share with you are not the only way, of course, to become a great healer, but it's just simply my experience of my students, and I hope it will be useful for you. So first one that I would like to share with you, and it may seem a little obvious, but I still want to talk about it, because if I would have to give you one tip, that would probably be it. So get passionate about becoming a great practitioner in Reiki or in any other modality that you're practicing. My first year of practicing, I literally was obsessed. I don't like the word obsessed, honestly, but that's probably what represents the way I was going with it the most. I was so passionate about Reiki and about practicing it that I would ask anyone I know, all of my friends, acquaintances, everyone literally, that I would meet a new person on the street, and I would invite them for a Reiki session with me, because I was just so in love with it. Honestly, I loved working with it. I loved the idea of it. I just loved experiencing it, and I wanted to gain as much of experience as I could. So I was doing it. I was practicing a lot, non-stop, and most of the time it was donation based. So I would invite people for sort of like a free session, but I would just ask them to give me literally like $5 or $10, $20, whatever they felt comfortable with, just because I believe in the energy exchange. If there is any service, especially in this field, down to, between people, there should be an energy exchange. So that's what I was doing. Like, that my first year, everywhere I would go, I would just get more people to practice Reiki, and I believe that was probably the reason why I actually became great at it, because the only reason why I see people not succeeding in it is because they give up too soon, and or they start thinking or believing that maybe they're not talented enough, maybe you have to be special, or they get intimidated about like my skill, how they experience session with me, and then they try for like 1, 2, 3 times and they don't feel like it's the same, and they just give up, and because they think, oh, you have to be special, maybe she's just like very talented in that naturally and I'm not. Or no, it's not that. Like 100% it's not that. I was not any special of a student at all, and all it is just the more you practice with the energy, the more of a clear channel you become, and the more connection you have with that energy, and you just create that sort of relationship with it, you know. So the more you are with it, the stronger your relationship with the practice, with the energy becomes, and you just get better and better the more you practice. So I had maybe 1 or 2 students, probably 1 student in my practice that just quit because they didn't have enough dedication, and just like I met them a couple of years later, and they just didn't really get into the point where they felt very connected with the energy, and they quit, which is such a shame in my opinion, because it's such an amazing tool, and you don't have to be overly serious about practicing it. You don't have to, you know, be overwhelmed or very just or feel anything else rather than curiosity and fun. Like, the more you make it fun for yourself, the more chances of succeeding you'll have. So just like flow with that, tap into your inner child while you're practicing, and have fun, and I'm sure you will become amazing at it. Then another tip I would give to you guys is, if you haven't had a session with your Reiki master before your attunement, then get one, even if it's after. But if I would recommend you a way, I would tell you to do it before, because it's really great to be on that receiving side before you go and learn how to practice, how to give a session for someone else. And of course, it gives you an idea about what is your Reiki master gonna teach you, because there are so many different people, and while the practice itself is the same, but every teacher sort of have their own style, and you want to know if you like that style, if you resonate with that style, and if you would like to learn everything that person knows. So yeah, I'll go and have a session with them before your training. I had a couple Reiki sessions before my attunement, I believe, and one I had like a week or a couple of days before the training, because I wanted to connect with the energy even more, and I wanted to just be in a good place myself, to prepare my body, to prepare myself energetically for the initiation. Another tip is to journal your experience, especially your first sessions. This one helped me a lot in the beginning. I was, after every session that I had with someone or with myself, all of the sensations were sort of new, and it was very helpful to write down all of those feelings in my hands, or maybe insides, or in my body, something that would come up during the session, either if I worked with a person or with myself, and then I would go back, months later to it, and I would read it. It would also give me some sort of deeper understanding what it is that I felt. Maybe certain experiences, like certain sensations sort of repeat, and then you can have like a library for yourself of references. Oh, if I feel this sensation, tingling or cold or heat, that meant this or that for example, if you had a session with a person and you had a tingling sensation in your hand while you were over their hip, for example, and then after the session you ask them what's going on in this area of your body, and they tell you, oh, I just had the surgery there, and you didn't even know. Like, that's something that happened to me in my first sessions, that was really helpful for my experience to understand that feeling might be this is how I feel, that something maybe is going on in that area on a physical level. And then in the future I already will ask myself a person, or if I have that feeling, I will stay in the area for a longer time, because then I would know, oh, maybe there's something on a physical level that is going on with their body. And with this, I will go to the next tip, that is asking for feedback. Ask people for feedback after every session, because sometimes, not even sometimes, most of the time, I would say, people just lay on a table and it looks like nothing is going on, or they are asleep, or you're wondering are they asleep or not, and you don't know what their experience is. And sometimes it is so interesting, but it doesn't look like it. You would never know until you asked. And not everyone is very talkative, and especially people come out of the session and they're a little loopy, a little ungrounded, and unless you ask, you may not even know that their experience was something out of this world. And maybe your insights sort of connect with what they were experiencing, and you can share your experience of what you felt, what your intuition was telling you, and these things might come a little later with practice. Depends how open you are. Maybe you're a natural psychic and things like that will come right away for you very easily. I didn't get those probably until like 1 year into a session, maybe 9 months or so. And it took me a while to learn to trust that, because at first I just thought, oh, it's a random thought, I wouldn't pay attention to it. And now I know that everything that comes up in the session, if you are in a neutral state, if you are not thinking about something that is related to you, if you are neutral, as I said, you will get insights most of the time, and they are never random. There's always something there. So sharing your insights, your sensations, feelings, intuitive things with the client is important, but also especially in the beginning, it is very important for you to get a feedback from the person, so you can understand what they felt and how it felt for you. It's again sort of like a language that you try to learn and understand of how do you communicate with the energy. So yeah. Another one is try different things in your sessions, like different extra tools. And for everyone, those extra tools are going to be different ones. And unless you try, you wouldn't know which ones you resonate the most with. It's not necessary, it's not a must, but it is definitely helpful. It makes experience more interesting and rich and deep for you as a practitioner and also for a person. on the other side. So I like to use sound healing, crystal, different cleansing techniques, essential oils, breath work, shamanic tools like drumming, and sometimes inner child work. It really depends. Now I have a lot of different different tools in my pocket, and I just intuitively see what I want to use in the moment. By the way, this oil is my favorite. It's vetiver, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, by doTERRA, but oh my god, it's literally my favorite oil for grounding. If I know that I have to be in the physical world a lot, do things, that one is really great. And you can use it for your clients at the end of the session, so when they come out of this upper chakras experience, it grounds them. Another tip I would give to you is to study chakras. It helped me a lot and still does to understand the energy systems in the body, so you can check them at the beginning, do the diagnostic basically to see which chakras are in balance, which are ones are not in balance, and work on them with Reiki energy. But as well as you can talk to a person after the session and ask them questions. You know, if you know that their root chakra is in imbalance, for example, during the session you of course make sure that energy goes there, especially until it's balanced. But also at the end you can give them some tips of what they can do so they feel safe, and just ask question what's going on maybe in their life, so their root chakra is in imbalance. And this is just gonna give you more of understanding about how energetical system of people humans work. And I found it very helpful in my practice and I still use it. So yeah, there is a lot of books on that, and if you would like more information about that, I could share it with you. You can comment below, and maybe I'll make video on it. Another tip I would give to you is to work on your own healing. That's a very important one in the long run. If you actually want to work with people, if you want to take this as your career, if you are not gonna be spending any time or energy or attention into your own healing and all what you want to do because you have a calling, you know, just to help other people. The calling to help other people is of course amazing, but without your own healing you won't be able to do much, to be honest, because there is rarely any person in the world that didn't have any trauma. We all have things and stuff happen to us in our life and childhood, and yeah, most of us are going through a lot. And if you want to be that light for people, you have to become light first. So you cannot bring anyone to any higher level than you are yourself. If you're here, this is the level where you can bring another person to, like, will help them, lift them up. If you're here, that's the only level. So the more you work on your own healing, first you will understand more. You will know how not easy of a process it is to go through healing, whatever it is. And Usually we attract people, we attract clients that are very similar to us, because all people are just mirrors. And if you work through something, like me for example, I got into Reiki because I was depressed, I had anxiety, panic attacks, but mostly just depression and apathy for life. So I was looking for ways to heal that without the pill, and Reiki was one of the first things I came across, and it was one of the things that actually helped me. So for a long time, most of my clients were people who are dealing with depression, anxiety, and panic attacks, of course. Later on, I started attracting different kind of clients, but it's also because I sort of gained the muscle to work with different things. But before, I wouldn't even get anyone who is with maybe like a more serious situations in life. I'm not saying depression is not serious, it very much is, but I'm just saying that I've noticed that the deeper I go, the more knowledge I get, the more healing I do for myself. I noticed that requests or like the seriousness of the problems that people come to me, or like they're getting also a little, more serious and deep and heavier, to say so. So yes, everything that you heal in yourself, you will be able to share with others. And generally it is what people come to you for. They come for a shift, right? If you feel somewhere in a low vibration, you go for a healer, practitioner. You want to be in higher vibration. But if that person is not there themselves, probably maybe you will be able to make a little bit of a difference in their state, but not higher than where you are at yourself. So that's a big one. And of course, spoiler, healing never ends. Even if you're going to be doing this for your entire life, it's never ending process, because there is always a new layer that is on top of that, and then there is like generational trauma. Like the more you heal yourself, then it becomes not only about you, but also about maybe your family and your whole ancestry. Another tip I would give to you is prepare for every session. So do whatever it takes for you to raise your vibration before you go into a session with someone. Like for me, there are now techniques that I use that I haven't used in the past. Like I work with Hape, which is tobacco, plant medicine, indigenous medicine, and I have a very deep connection with this medicine. I absolutely love it, and from time to time I use it to just bring myself into that right state. But of course, that plant medicine you can't use for every day. If you work with people every day, that is not recommended to use it so often. So I just use it whenever I feel like I need specifically that kind of ally in a moment. But generally, whatever it takes for you to put yourself into the neutral state, as I mentioned before, because that neutral state helps you to be there for a client. It becomes not about you, it becomes about them, right? So whatever is going on in your life, in your personal life, or in that day, if you take that 30 minutes to an hour, it really depends on what's going on. Maybe it will take a little less, a little more for you. And especially in the beginning, when you're discovering what that state actually is for you, just see what that time frame for yourself is. But for me now, I know that 30 minutes is enough, but also I sometimes take more than that if I have things in my life that I know could take a little bit more time for me to put on aside. So things that can help you do that is of course meditation, is breath work, is meditating with the Reiki symbols, or just even giving a Reiki for yourself, connecting with the nature. Honestly, there are so many different ways to do it, and it really is sort of your job to discover all of them if you haven't yet. It really depends where in your journey you are at. If you're a beginner practitioner generally in the spiritual healing world, that maybe you would have to try different techniques for yourself and see which one works best for you. But maybe you already are in some kind of practice, maybe yoga, so many different kinds of yoga or breath work or drumming, or lots of ways to do so. But it's important to do the work before you work with someone. I think for now this is it, and if you have any questions, you can of course comment, and I will be glad to answer those for you. Have a good day.